Greetings and welcome to Pickled Watermelon Rinds, a guilty pleasure podcast featuring Antie Joan and Ontie, providing our zesty and marginally mature take on current events, pop culture, and trends. Now we invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy. Now some bonus clips from previous episodes. Then I had a stupid little power outage. So we go through these blizzards. And we go through these strong winds and hailstorms, and the power stays on. I love my United Power because it stays on. And then randomly on a Tuesday, with beautiful weather, it goes out for 2.5 hours.
Did they ever give a reason?
No. And I know it was unscheduled because I went, and filed outage report, I guess they call them. Yeah. But it definitely said it was an unscheduled outage. And I'm like, okay. So I don't know what happened, but I decided that I was going to, I've got time. I might as well run out to the store in Netherlands. And because I was debating whether to go that day anyway. So I was like, I'm going to go. So your garage door has a ripcord for when the power goes out. So it disconnects from the automated door and you can just manually open it. So I did. And I came back, and right when I came home, literally as I'm pulling in the driveway, the power came back on. I was like, perfect timing. So put the car back in the driveway. I'm like, let me just connect the door back to the automatic opener. It'll take me 2 seconds. 30 minutes later. I get very frustrated when I don't have enough strength to do something that I know a man could just go boop and call it done. And that pisses me off to no end. I finally got it because I ended up getting out of vice grip. I had to use a vice grip to pull it back. Now, my old house in Netherlands, the power went out a lot when I first moved up there. A lot. So I pulled that ripcord at my old house, no problems, and it reconnected, no problems, never had an issue. This one, I don't know how the guy installed it, but for some reason, you manually have to push it back to re-engage. I don't know how to describe it, but there's no leverage near there for me to be able to pull this way and push that, you know what I mean? And kind of get some leverage. Couldn't get it. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I have to wait for my neighbor to get home and ask him to come over and do this. I'm like, that is aggravating as shit to me. And then I gave up. I put everything away and I'm like, I'm going inside. I'm like, I don't know what else to do. I can't get this. I tried for 20 solid minutes and I gave up. And then I remembered, I have a vice grip in my little tool arsenal. And I said, let me get that thing out and see if I can do something with that. Took a little finagling, but that's what did it. I just had to use the pump thing, the handle pump thing. And it slowly pushed it. And then click, it finally engaged and everything's back to normal. So I'll know better for next time. This is the first time I've ever left after the automatic door was installed to, when there was a power outage. Usually I just wait them out. But I was like, well, I don't know, better to do. Might as well go hit the grocery store. So anyway, that was my drama, my own, my solely created drama for myself.
Well, if you would have been like me, you would have said, well, that's a good excuse to stay home, and you wouldn't have had to deal with any of that.
No, I already went out. It was already unlocked. That's the downside, was once you disengage, the garage door is unlocked.
Well, right. But if once the power went off, you said, oh, well, I'm not going anywhere. The garage door won't open, so I'll just stay home for a while. So you wouldn't have had to disengage to leave.
Right.
Because you weren't going anywhere.
Right. That's what I normally do.
The power went off when you were home, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And like I said, that's what I normally do. But I was already thinking I wanted to get over there and thought, because I had so much to do. Normally, that's the day I do all of my podcast tasks, folks. So I was like, I don't know if I really have time to go over there. And then I said, well, then the power went out. And I said, well, I can't do my podcast stuff. So I said, shit, I might as well take advantage of this time that I didn't expect and go over there. So that's why I disengaged. And like I said, at my Netherlands house, I did it 1,000,000 times and never had an issue. So I was not expecting there to be an issue when I got back. And there it was. So yes, you just have to be a little engineer-brained thinking when problems arise. Is there a way that you can get around this without having to engage somebody else to help?
Well, I remember in the olden days, before garage door openers, when you had to get out every time and open it.
Yeah, I remember that too. That wasn't
Yeah.
that long
Yeah.
ago.
It was. It was.
I think my parents didn't get their first automatic garage door open until about 10 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes. They
Mm.
were definitely around when I was growing up, but we sure shit didn't have one. Oh,
Oh,
and I just got notified that the Peacock, raising their prices, but they got my Seth Meyers. So I don't know what to do. I'm torn because it's almost a 50% increase.
what does it take to watch it online? Like
You
through
only get clips because I did that for the longest time because NBC used to be affiliated with Hulu. So Seth was always on my Hulu, and then they branched out and created this stupid Peacock thing and did it. They
oh,
wanted all the money to themselves. So for the longest time, I only watched Seth in clips on YouTube, and I hated it. So because it's not the whole episode, it's chunks of it.
oh, so even the segments, they
Yeah.
cut those down.
It's not good. I'm not a fan. So we'll see if Seth is enough to keep me on the Peacock. Cause yeah, it's $5.99 a month. It comes through at like $6.13 with tax or whatever every month. And it's going up to $7.99 a month. So
Wow.
almost a 50% increase.
Wow.
So not happy. Not the happy. I don't know when it takes effect. I didn't get that far because I was too aggravated about the email.
The
Yeah.
whole thing about getting cable was the fact that you didn't have commercials. There was commercial TV, your regular networks, and then there was cable. You paid for ad free.
Right.
And now they're just throwing ads in everywhere.
Yeah, but
And if you
like,
don't,
but Max and Showtime and those channels for you because you're
yeah,
watching them as part of your cable package, you don't get
that's true.
commercials.
That's true.
I don't get them either. It's probably coming. They don't have, as far as I know, an ad version of those, but maybe they do. Mine is ad free. I don't do Showtime, but I have Max. Yeah, it's only
Amazing.
Peacock. So Max, Hulu, oh, and Prime now. Prime has commercials for me. I refuse to pay them any more money. I pay a lot of money to the Amazon. They're not getting any more out of me. I don't watch a lot on Prime anyway. So
You
I'm like,
don't really?
what do you
Oh,
watch on Prime?
a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, no.
And of course, I get like my Acorn and BritBox
Oh, through
through them, I
Amazon.
guess. Yeah, I guess.
Gotcha.
I don't know.
Although I do think my Max subscription is through Amazon. I think.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I know it goes on that credit card, but I don't know. I think I used to, but then something changed and they asked me. I don't know what happened. I think it's more of a direct thing now with Max. I think. Anyway, doesn't matter. I learned to drive on a standard shift, and I didn't have my first automatic until 2004. 2004. All of my cars leading up to that had been standard shift. And man, so much easier to drive an automatic.
Isn't it?
So heavenly. So fantastic. Now they cost more. It used to be the other way around. You paid more to get an automatic than you did a standard shift.
Yeah.
Which
yeah.
is a big reason why I kept with it, and because my father drilled it into our heads that you don't need all that fancy stuff. you don't need to spend money. He didn't like air conditioning in cars. That I put my foot down about.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, no, my car's gonna have air conditioning. And then I finally got my first automatic. I'm like, oh my God, this is like a dream come true. And now it costs more to get a standard shift.
I did not know that. I guess it's all the assembly line, what they're set up to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. As people got more into conveniences as time has gone on, the standard shift has fallen by the wayside. Of course, in true sports vehicles or luxury sports vehicles, I guess I should say, standard is probably still prevalent. I'm making an assumption here. I don't know. But in, everyday driving cars, yeah, it's more common for folks to get automatics than it is standard shift.
Yeah, I had a Subaru wagon up until a couple of years before I got my Ford Explorer in '99, and that had standard, and it kind of broke my heart to go from standard to automatic. I felt like I was turning into an old lady.
Oh,
And now
yeah.
the thought of going back to standard, why bother?
Exactly.
I was pretty good at the standard too, and hills and stuff. You got to be good out here.
Yeah. Once you got used to it, that's all. I
Hmm.
mean,
Hmm.
honestly, it's better to have that skill in your back
Yeah,
pocket. You know,
yeah.
you can drive one if it came down to it, but if I have my way, it's automatics.
Yeah.
Also, we wanted to do a quick follow up on conservatorships for our listener. I did just want to say that I did very cursory research on this. I do encourage everybody who's listening to check with your own state, whatever your state rules and regulations may be. Also, consult an attorney. I'm clearly not an attorney. I did a quick Google search and just wanted to share a little bit of information. I did go out to oh, go ahead.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but you don't even play an attorney on TV, do you?
I do not play an attorney
Okay.
on TV. No, no, I don't. So I did check the Colorado Judicial Branch website. They do have information dedicated to conservatorships on their site. It was interesting, though. They have an FAQ section, frequently asked questions, but yet there wasn't a single one out there. So that just says to me that folks aren't talking about this enough and trying to get a better understanding to protect yourselves or loved ones and what's all involved in conservatorships. So it had some good information basically on how to file to be a conservator and if you're out of state and all that wonderful stuff. So it does have some good information. I went further and looked up the Colorado Bar Association, which is their chapter 23 that talks about powers of attorney. It is really important that you appoint successors during your estate planning. So you certainly name your primary power of attorney, but you want to have at least one successor. So that would help, make sure that you're always being taken care of if you're no longer to make financial decisions or medical decisions for yourself. You're always primary until you're not. And that's when who you've appointed would come into play. Yeah, just make sure that you make sure that you always, your attorney should, if it's a good attorney, they'll make sure that you are set up appropriately, but keep that in mind. There was an optional nomination of conservator or guardian form. So I went back and looked through my paperwork and I did not see where I actually filled out something like that when I've created my living trust and named power of attorneys and all that wonderful stuff. But I also have successors all listed out, so I'm probably fine. But I do want folks to be aware that at least in the state of Colorado, again, this is all specific to the state of Colorado, there is a separate nomination of conservator or guardian form that you can fill out as optional. So if your attorney mentions it, it might be a good idea just to get that in place as well. And then, you should be fairly covered. But again, do your own research. But I did want to make sure you folks are all aware that the information's out there, but definitely consult an actual attorney to make sure that you're set up appropriately.
Amen.
So that was the follow-up we wanted to do. That was when we were discussing the Wendy Williams Lifetime documentary.
Movie, documentaries, yeah.
Yeah, and we talked about following up on conservatorship just to give you guys a little bit more information or some pointers, and there you have it.
Thank you, Auntie.
Anything else on our night owl versus morning person?
Well, probably the only reason that I've expanded my awake hours to so much later is because of the TV that's available. When I was working second shift in the computer room, I get home at 12:30, whatever. And I thought it was a big deal when we had HBO,
Right.
I mean, it was HBO and 3-4 other channels. And oh, how depressing can that be? So what's the point in staying up?
Right.
Yeah. So now there's so much available now.
Mm-hmm.
But even with all I have, still have trouble finding something I want to watch.
I hear you. I mean, I agree. For how many of the streaming applications I have, I don't find that there's a lot of content or something that can keep me truly occupied. I watch a lot of reruns, but I like reruns.
Those kind of reruns.
Yeah, I like, I've rewatched Parks and Recreation a bunch of times, Seinfeld, Modern Family, Big Bang Theory, Veep on repeat. I wish there were so many more episodes of that show.
I've never watched any of those.
Oh, Veep is
No, I saw the last one, I think, and
it's one of my favorites. So I do have those on at the ready should there be nothing on that interests me. Oh, and The Office. The Office I've rewatched.
oh
many
yeah, that
times
I'll
as
watch.
well.
Yeah,
So yeah.
I like to find documentaries, especially if they're about religious cults and things like that,
Yes.
and some medical stuff. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Dr. Pimple Popper, I like to watch. Yeah.
Well, I have nearly finished my day drinking of Aperol Spritz. So,
Day drinking with Auntie.
Aperol Spritz, so
And
good.
I had water.
She's a
Good
teetotaler.
old water.
I had a hankering, so I had one. And I'm
You go, girl.
tired, and I kick,
Kick.
and I stretch, and I kick. Because I'm 50.
75.
53. Yes. So I said, why not? But yes, I first had the Aperol Spritz in Budapest. I saw the cocktail walk on by and said, what's that? And they said Aperol Spritz. And I said, you can go ahead and get me one of those. And they are delicious.
That's the first time you had one, huh? When you went to Budapest?
Yes. Mm-hmm. It is. Mm-hmm. That was the first time. Yes. I've always been a Prosecco fan and mimosa fan and variations of the mimosa over the years, but I never had an Aperol Spritz, and it was delicious and still is, and now I make them at home.
And me, I would like a good Wisconsin old-fashioned made with, what is it I like to drink?
I don't know. Whiskey?
It's the brand.
Oh, I do know.
Oh, damn. See, now here we go. I forgot.
Is that, it's not Jim Beam. That's what you got, the eggnoggy thing, right?
Yeah.
That's more of a bourbon anyway, I think.
But damn, it's not a real well, I don't know.
Is it Wild Turkey?
No.
I don't know.
Southern Comfort.
Oh, SoCo. I got drunk on that when I was young. I haven't had it since.
Give me a good Southern Comfort old fashioned Wisconsin style, and I'm happy.
All right.
With
That's good stuff.
With fresh oranges and a cherry.
Because that makes it better.
Mm-hmm. Because the alcohol absorbs into the orange, and then when you go to eat it, you get the second
more SoCo.
Yeah.
Okay.
With a bit of orange.
Is there anything else in an old fashioned?
Yeah, I'm not sure what the base liquid is. If it's like not seltzer, but tonic, and then they use simple syrup.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah. I need to learn that and get it just right.
Auntie Bethy likes the whiskey sours.
Oh no,
never been a fan. I don't like whiskey. Like I said, that was way back, drinking that way young, and that was enough of that.
Yeah.
I like JD and Coke back then. I liked Southern Comfort and Coke, and that was too much. It went away.
I was more a straight liquor kind of gal, and I liked it mixed with water or on the rocks or a martini or a Manhattan.
That's how my brother likes his bourbon, straight up. Not me. I can't even. The smell of it, everything about it just takes me right back to our backyard when I was 14 years old and drinking with my brother and the guy that lived across the street. Kid at that time that lived across the street. And yeah, we used to get out of school because my mother worked. She was working at the school, so she got home later than us. So we were latchkey kids.
So you do it in high school? You come home and drink in your, oh my gosh.
Yeah. I remember in these these freaking 70s green Tupperware cups. Plastic Tupperware cups.
Yeah. I remember those.
That's what we drank our JD and Coke in. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't an everyday thing, but it was enough times.
And you never worried about them finding out that that the level of the alcohol went down?
My parents never drank. They always had alcohol in the house for their friends, but they never drank, so they didn't know how much was there. They never, they really didn't keep close tabs on it. So yes, it was very easy to do. So
wow. Wow.
Good times.
Don't do this at home.
Good times. Good times.
Sweaty balls. That'll be our Christmas show.
Yes, it will. Oh, and a couple weeks ago, Donald Sutherland died, who I always had a crush on.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Always had a crush on him.
Did you really? I never thought he was crush worthy.
Because I just always thought he had a secret.
Oh,
the way
yeah.
he would
did,
smile
didn't he?
and look at the camera. I'm like, oh, he's got stories to tell. He could teach me things.
I bet he does. Yeah. Yeah. One of my old best friends, she used to have the hots for Kiefer.
Well, I like Kiefer too, but then he did that show, Designated Survivor,
Oh,
and he had all of these big bodyguards around him, and I realized how small he was. And that did it in for me. I loved Kiefer growing up. Oh my God. He was, because I didn't know about his dad. I only knew about him. And then I saw his dad in Backdraft, I think maybe in the first movie I saw him in. He was a very small role. He was an arsonist. And
Kiefer
no,
or Donald?
Donald. And yes, and he was talking to, oh gosh. Not Al Pacino, the other one.
Robert De Niro.
Thank you. Robert De Niro. Like you now.
It's one or the other.
Robert De Niro is like the chief of fire department or whatever. And Donald Sutherland was an arsonist that was coming up for parole. And Robert De Niro's character went to the parole board to explain why he should never be let out of jail. And he's talking and then Robert De Niro said, what do you want to do with those children? I forgot what the lead up was, but what do you want to do with all those children? And he's like, burn them all. And he just had this evil smile on his face.
Oh
I'm
my
like,
gosh.
I love him. And he called Robert De Niro's character Shadow. There was a reason, but I don't remember. So he walked into her, he's like, Shadow.
What was that? What was
Backdraft.
That in? Backdraft.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's where I first found Donald Sutherland. But up until that point, it was all about Kiefer. I loved him so much until, like I said, he was standing with all of those big, Secret Service people around him, playing Secret Service, of course, but they were all big. And Kiefer was itty bitty. He was like a Ken doll. I wanted to pick him up.
I did like Kiefer in, that movie.
Lost Boys?
Yes.
Of course you did. Everybody did. And Flatliners. And
But back to Lost Boys.
Oh, yes. Back to Lost Boys. Please.
The saxophone player.
The saxophone player.
Oh my gosh. You don't remember the saxophone player? He had been the saxophone player for Tina Turner.
Oh.
Oh.
Tina Turner?
He was her sax player for a while. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I love the Lost Boys. That's a great movie.
I did too. That's always a good one to put on,
I think
especially if you want to take a nap.
Well, I think we need to put that on for Halloween this year. Lost Boys.
Oh, yes. Yes.
One thing I never liked about Santa Carlita. All the damn vampires. I think that's what the name of the town was, something like that. I always thought it was Santa Clara because I actually lived in Santa Clara for a while, for a couple of years. And I was like, oh my God, it's from the Lost Boys. I'm like, and then I went back and watched. I'm like, oh, that's not what he says. But something like that.
Did you see Donald Sutherland in Ordinary People with Mary Tyler Moore?
Did not. I don't think I ever saw that movie from start to finish. I may have seen clips, but not start to finish.
Yeah, he was really good.
Because Howell was in that, right? C. Thomas Howell. Did he won the Oscar for it?
I don't know.
Pretty sure. And the only reason I know that is because I just watched a different documentary about the Brat Pack.
Oh, yeah.
Not the Rat Pack, the Brat Pack.
I know.
It was just average. That's why I didn't put it on the list.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I didn't care about them.
Was it C.
Although
Thomas?
I did like The Breakfast Club. That was pretty good.
Yes. It might not have been C. Thomas Howell. I always had him confused with the other guy. Shit.
I liked Judd Nelson. I liked him.
Let me see who was in Ordinary People. Talk amongst yourself.
Okay. So, let's see here.
I don't think it was C. Thomas Howell now that I say that. I think it was, where's the cast?
Oh, in Ordinary People?
Yeah. Timothy Hutton. That's who was in
yeah,
Ordinary People. He won the Oscar. Not C. Thomas Howell. C. Thomas Howell was in The Outsiders.
Oh, that was a good movie, too.
That was a good movie. But
how did we get onto movies from?
I don't know what happened.
I mentioned Martin Mull. As we were closing, I mentioned Martin Mull died.
Yeah. Oh, then I went on to Donald Sutherland died, and hence the progression to the movies. Sorry.
That's how conversating works, folks.
I tell you what, we're a little ADD over here, folks.
No, it's just good conversating.
Yeah.
You young people need to learn how to do it, especially you young men.
All right. We're not going to do the Bill Maher bit.
Okay.
He steals from us. We don't steal from him.
You are correct.
I didn't have a whole lot going on this week. I was more just chores around the house, some weeding and cleaning windows, and I'm giving up on cleaning windows. I'm done. I'm going to hire people from this point forward. I have tried everything to get streak-free windows. I've tried home remedies. I've tried squeegees. I have tried...
Oh, you got the
actually
stuff from the
bought this
windshield place.
Yep, all of it leaves streaks, and I'm done. I clearly I'm inept and can't do it. I've tried, and even when I think it's, oh my God, look at how good this looks, 2 days later I just see the streaks. I'm like, well, those were there right after I did it. I just couldn't see them. 100% done. I hate the fact that I have to pay for it, especially since I can reach all of my windows. A couple of them are higher than I would prefer. But with this being a ranch, I could physically do all the windows, and I'm just bad at it. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I'm done. It will be hired out. I will pay the stupid amount of money for somebody to come and clean my damn windows, but I can't stand it. I can't stand the way it comes out. So I'm over it.
My mom always used vinegar and water.
That's what I used.
Really?
Yep. I have tried it all the home remedies, everything. And it's coming out like shit, and I'm so aggravated with it. And because
I'm so sorry.
It's a pain in the ass. I hate doing it to begin with. I hate anything like that. And then I go through the effort, and I bought, like I said, I ended up buying the squeegee, the actual window washing soft side, and then the squeegee on the other side, the whole shirt, just like you have at the gas stations. Bought it all, did it all, and it comes out like shit. And I'm like, I'm over it. I can't stomach it anymore. I'm not giving it any more of my time. So I have to find a window washer because I don't want to use the one I used in Netherlands. There was a couple of brothers that were doing some window washing up here, but I think they stopped. So I don't even know who I can get, but I clearly can't do it myself.
I've seen somebody down on Nextdoor down here. I could send them you their thing, and you could ask them if they would be interested in coming up there. They've had marvelous reviews.
So that's my woes about window cleaning. I can't. I just can't anymore. It's too aggravating. I'm just getting myself pissed off looking at it. So I'm done. And weeding's just the bane of my existence. I hate doing it, but it has to be done, especially with thistle, because it just goes crazy and it's invasive and it's a noxious weed. And I'm out there once a week taking weeds out, and I'm tired of that too. But hopefully my labors will pay off, next year and the years to come.
They'll come
Not
back.
all of them will come back. I've been pulling them.
All of them.
Okay.
Like that nice tree guy came and cut down all those, volunteer trees for me, and now they're all coming back.
I'd call him back if I were you. So good. And like I said, I just watched another movie of his on Max, maybe? I don't know. I already forgot the name of it, but it was well done, and it was quintessential Michael Keaton. I thought it was very good. Anyway, we can review that another time.
I think he's definitely an underappreciated actor.
Yes. I love him in Jack Frost.
I liked him in Batman.
I did. I liked him as Batman. I agree.
I'm Batman.
I do. I agree. I liked him as Batman. Yes.
And
Mr. Mom.
Yes.
Now we're going way back.
What, 10
early
80s?
No. Early 80s. Yeah, well, look at the quality of the film and you'll be like, yep, early 80s.
Oh.
Although they may have digitized it at this point. Who knows? But yes. That was fun.
Yeah. Did he do Dr. Detroit?
I don't know. I don't know that one.
Oh, I'm going to have to look that up.
Couldn't say. Yeah. And then I went and saw what I thought was going to be a play, but it wasn't. It was a community theater down in Lakewood, Colorado called Till Death Do Us Part, You First. And I was captivated by the title. It was posted on Facebook, and that's how I found it. And I said, "Oh, you know what? That's pretty close to where I am. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go down for a Sunday matinee, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, because I'm not that old, but honestly, I all of my actions say otherwise. 'Cause I love matinees. I hate going out, especially with a place I don't know. Like if I was going to a theater I've been to a million times, I don't care about going at night. But if I'm going somewhere I don't spend a lot of time in Lakewood, so I don't know that place very well. So I'm like, I'd rather go to a matinee. The good thing about going to matinees at my age is I was the youngest person inside that theater. By a lot. Like not just a little, by a lot.
I don't have that experience anymore.
So that was fun. I was just like, huh. But they serve booze at the Lakewood Community Center. Culture Center. Lakewood Culture Center is where the community theater is. But yeah, they had a little, beverage thing set up. You could get little snacks. You can take your beverages into the theater. You couldn't take your snacks in. I think that's how it worked. Yes. Oh. So I got a bottled water and I tried the little rosé wine, and I gotta say, for a little theater, I had low expectations on what that was going to taste like, and it wasn't bad.
Well, good.
Yeah.
So how was the show?
Well, it turned out it's a one-man show. And it really was more or less a stand-up act, is how it was. This guy is a comedian. I doubt you've ever heard of his name is Peter J. Fogel. He is a comedian by profession. He's been in some movies, and I have to point out that he was in, and I, of course, don't know him from this at all, but couldn't even tell you what role he played in it. But he was in Teen Wolf 2 with Jason Bateman.
I thought you were going to say Michael J. Fox.
No, back in 1987. Teen Wolf, the original, is Michael J. Fox. Yeah, Jason Bateman did 2, and it was terrible. I mean, they're both bad, but Michael J. Fox's movie did much better than Jason Bateman's movie. Let's put it that way. And Jason Bateman talks about it, so it's not like he knows.
You're not going to hurt his feelings.
No, because I hope he's listening. That would be awesome.
Well, of course he is.
But what got me to go there, not only was it because it was fairly close by and I hadn't been to a play in a long time and all that, on the Facebook, they said it was directed by Chaz Palminteri, who is from A Bronx Tale, very well-known actor. Chaz was not there. Not too surprised by that. But just the way they did that on the Facebook, I could see people thinking that maybe Chaz was going to be there. He was in Vegas. But he did overlay some recorded parts in the stand-up with Peter Fogel. So it was, the guy's funny for sure. But I don't think I enjoyed it to its fullest because I got stung by a bee.
You did?
Like 20 minutes before I got to the theater. I stopped at the Home Depot to get the damn light bulbs I needed. And I was in the parking lot and I felt something tickle my right arm and I thought it was just a loose hair from my head. So I went and I grabbed at it because I thought it was a hair, and it was a bee, and it stung me like 3 times on my middle finger, my left middle finger. So, and it hurt. I was like,
did it swell?
It did. I took the ring because, of course, I had all my rings on. So I took the rings off that finger immediately because I'm like, because it's my mother's engagement ring on. I'm like, I'm not going to have to cut that thing off. So I took those off immediately, put them on other fingers. It did swell, not terribly, but it definitely swelled up. I didn't realize about halfway through the show, I finally picked up my bottled water, which was plastic bottle of water, which was cold, and had my finger laying against it. And that helped. It helped. But that thing throbbed until I went to bed that night. I ain't even going to lie. So I got stung at about 10 after 1 in the afternoon, and I went to bed 9 o'clock that night-ish. So it throbbed for that long. And I was like, oh, I guess when little kids get stung and they make a big deal about it and cry and cry and cry and cry, I guess I should give them a little bit of credit because, I couldn't believe how much it hurt. I haven't been stung since I was a kid. I didn't think anything. I was like, ugh, I can't believe I just got stung by a bee. All right, whatever. And then I'm like, this kind of hurts.
Mhm. I'm surprised that by the time you went to bed, it had stopped throbbing. I would,
I went to bed with it throbbing
oh,
and woke up the next morning and it wasn't. And I ended up putting a little
oh,
bit of, I did put more cold compresses on, but as soon as it warmed up again, it started throbbing. So it felt the best when it was completely numbed up from ice. But as soon as that wore off, the throbbing came right back. So then I
the
used
pulsating and throbbing.
the pulsating and throbbing. Yes. And then I ended up putting some, went online and saw to put some apple cider vinegar on it. That
Huh.
seemed to help. I mean, on a piece of paper towel and
Mhm,
press it
mhm.
against, for like, hold it on there for like 15 minutes. That helped. That dulled it a little bit. But yeah, it wasn't until the next morning that finally felt better.
Oh.
Yeah, who knew? So the comic may have been funnier for me if I wasn't sitting there in pain watching, but he was pretty dirty. And I was not like swearing and that kind of stuff, but the lots of sexual innuendos because I mean it's
Yeah.
about a couple and it's basically about
Oh,
all of
oh.
his dad's past dating life before he meets this person. So really and the title's kind of misleading as well. Till Death Do Us Part You First didn't really come into play throughout much of his stand-up act.
Mhm.
So anyway, but yeah, at intermission, the two elderly ladies sitting to the right of me did not come back.
Really?
Mm-mm. And I was surprised. I
Yeah.
actually thought he would lose more people because I was like, oh. I mean, I don't care, but you see your audience, right?
Well, that's the thing about us seniors. We want to get our money's worth.
Well,
By
and they
God,
were
if we paid,
laughing, but they were
were
laughing
they?
too. And I was like, okay. I think I only chuckled out loud maybe twice, but there was like some people that went, ah! I was like, wow, okay. It was just not for me.
Yeah.
it was fine, but it was a $59 ticket, folks, for a
Holy
community theater.
smokes.
Yeah, so that's why I thought maybe Chaz Palminteri was actually there, but no.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, just this dude, Peter Fogel, that I never heard of before. So I'll have to do more research next time before just getting suckered in by the title of something that sounded like it would be really fun and funny. Also, to make sure that it's truly a play and not listening to somebody stand up act. I just see comedians, I see really good comedians. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah.
this guy was fine. Yeah, no, not for me. That's
Yeah.
okay.
It is what it is.
And more of Scotland. I would definitely do it as a trip to both because Scotland was just a day for me. And I loved it and would love to spend some more time. I didn't get to really go to any of the countryside. I mean, I took a train between, where did I take it from? Galway. Nope. Galway's in Ireland.
Glasgow.
Glasgow. Yes. I mean, a lot of people don't like that city. I had no problems with it. Some people have called it a dirty city. I disagree. I did not think it was a dirty city at all. I think Dublin is a dirty city, but I do not think Glasgow is a dirty city. For me, it was a place to sleep, and it was very close to the train station, and it wasn't that far from the airport. So for how short a time I was in Scotland, it was very easy for me to maneuver. I could walk to the train station and got on the train and went to Edinburgh for the day, came back and felt safe walking around. I was close to a lock that I went to. Of course, I don't remember the lock off the top of my head, but when I arrived, that was like the first thing I did after I dropped my stuff off at the hotel. I just jumped on the train to go on a boat ride around this lock. I had nothing but fond memories of Glasgow, but it is a city. It's got cool architecture. I walked around a little bit. I thought it was kind of cool in my opinion, but I've heard some negative things about it, but that wasn't my experience. Yeah, but Edinburgh, I thoroughly enjoyed. I would have liked to have spent more time there and definitely gone to see more of the countryside of Scotland. Next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get yourself a kilt.
Maybe.
Do women wear? I wondered, do women wear kilts in Scotland?
I don't think so.
No, neither. Maybe you could start a new.
Start a new
Trend.
trend.
Yeah.
There you go. So talking a little bit more about the case, since we're not caring about spoilers, it was interesting to see how they twisted it all together where they all thought these people went missing. And the main woman who went missing, which was Seamus's, they weren't married yet, right? They were
I don't think
engaged.
so. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
She was one of the people who disappeared. And how that convent came into play is because she actually was afraid of Seamus. That's back when he was heavily involved in the gang. And she fled to the convent and was pregnant and had the baby at the convent. And that is our little Sean O'Shea, the idiot who believes he's Romanian. And his mother was asked to take him in as an infant. So he always knew that the mother who raised him was not his birth mother.
Yeah.
And she had told him that she had adopted him from Romania, and that's why he was so into Romania and wanted to go back there. He wanted to move there and all that. Turns out that no, he was really Seamus's son, and then Seamus was kind of an asshole, and he found that out. So a little sad there, but
he was upset that they never told him that he had a son. And I think he told Sean, he said, well, if I had known, things would have been different. And I'm thinking, he would have been raised with you as his father and probably gotten into all kinds of shady dealings. Although he was still into shady dealings with Seamus as it was.
And his fiance, she died during childbirth, right?
Fiona, yes.
Fiona, that's
Seamus's,
right.
yeah.
Right.
Seamus's fiance.
Right. Okay. That's why she was never heard from again. But she left on the night of that festival to escape Seamus. And the folklore around it was that she disappeared because of the festival, what the festival was about. And 2 other people, but I don't remember what happened with those 2.
One of them was Teddy.
Right.
And then the other one was...
And Teddy's
they
really
found
good singer.
The other one, the guy, was found in the trunk of a car with a traveler girl that had been hit by a car. They put him and this girl into a trunk and buried him, submerged him in a pond or
That's
whatever.
right. That's right. And the sheriff knew about that and helped cover it up. He didn't kill them, but he helped cover it up.
And the sheriff is Teddy's dad.
Right.
The singer's dad.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of little twists and turns in it. It's a good watch. And like Auntie Joan said, dark comedy. So there's some funny things, but it's not like a silly, which you would expect from Will Forte.
Stuff. Yeah.
It's not quite like that. It's more of, like you said, a dark comedy.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Good. I'm glad we were able to discuss it because I think it's worth watching.
We thank you for listening. And remember, when life eats away at your core, make pickled watermelon rinds.